Outdoor baby reveal party. Pink and blue balloons everywhere, confetti cannons ready to explode, dessert table loaded with treats, everyone holding their phones up. The host hands the microphone to my sister so she can thank everyone. She's glowing, pregnant belly perfectly round under her designer maternity dress, hair done, makeup flawless. She starts with grateful lines, thanking family and friends, then pauses with this mischievous smile. "I'm so grateful my whole family is here today. Even my broke sister made it." The crowd chuckles nervously. Then she looks directly at me and delivers the final blow. We call her the broke sister, but hey, she's rich in vibes, I guess. More laughter, and I can feel eyes scanning me, judging my simple jeans and plain sweater. But here's what nobody knew. The broke sister she was mocking, the one she assumed could barely afford gas money, was about to hand her baby a $450,000 nursery fund. Not diapers, not a gift card. $450,000. Cash. Already transferred. I stood there frozen, smile plastered on my face, clapping along while my brain replayed her words. Broke sister. The label I'd been trying to shed for years, now announced into a microphone, recorded on 24 phones, immortalized forever. In less than an hour, when the pink smoke cleared, I would hand her an envelope that would shatter every assumption. Her joke would backfire so spectacularly that she'd spend the rest of the night crying from embarrassment and regret. This is how the broke sister became the sister nobody dares to underestimate anymore. Growing up, my sister was the golden child. Perfect path, good grades, stable job, engagement, big wedding, now a baby. Everything on schedule, Instagram, perfect. Meanwhile, I was the messy one who took risks. I switched careers twice in my 20s, tried starting a business that barely broke even, worked side hustles that left me eating instant noodles. There were years when I genuinely struggled, when rent was tight, when I skipped family dinners because I couldn't afford fancy restaurants. During those struggle years, my family branded me permanently. I became the broke one, the unstable one, the sister who never has money. My sister made sure I never forgot it with jokes at every gathering. Don't ask her to split the bill, she's probably living on credit cards. Everyone would laugh, including our parents, and I'd smile because what else could I do? But over the last few years, everything changed. One career switch finally clicked, landing me a remote tech position that paid significantly more than anyone realized. I started investing smartly, buying real estate when the market dipped, building funds aggressively. Within 3 years, I'd accumulated a 7-figure net worth. Not billionaire status, but enough that $450,000 wouldn't destroy me. I never flaunted it. Same reliable car, normal clothes, modest apartment. I didn't post bank statements or wear designer labels. Wealth meant security and options, not performance. But because I didn't perform my success, my family assumed nothing had changed. They looked at my lack of status symbols and concluded I was still struggling. My sister especially enjoyed keeping that narrative alive because it made her own success feel more impressive. The problem wasn't that I used to be broke. The problem was that even after I recovered and built something real, nobody thought to update their perception. They held on to the old version because it was funny, because it was convenient, because it gave them someone to feel superior to. When my sister announced her pregnancy, I was genuinely happy. Despite all the jokes, she's still my sister, and I wanted this baby to have everything. I started thinking about meaningful gifts, not just another item they'd receive 20 copies of. I thought about financial stress from my own childhood, about watching my parents struggle. I didn't want this baby to experience that uncertainty. So I decided to create a nursery fund with enough money to handle college tuition, a first car, maybe even a down payment on a home someday. I calculated what would be generous but sustainable and settled on $450,000. It was massive, but I could afford it, and I genuinely wanted to give this baby the head start I never had. My original plan was to announce this quietly, maybe at the hospital after birth or at a private family dinner. I imagined my sister crying happy tears, maybe even apologizing for years of jokes. I imagined it being a beautiful moment that could reset our relationship. Then came the baby reveal party, and that gentle plan evaporated. The party was gorgeous, outdoor venue with string lights, white linen tables, a huge balloon arch. I arrived planning to blend in and enjoy my sister's moment. The speeches started after everyone ate. My parents went first, then my brother-in-law's parents, then my sister took the microphone and shifted into her comfort zone, making me the punchline. "I'm so glad my rich aunties and uncles are here to spoil the baby," she laughed. And of course, my broke sister too. Uncomfortable laughter. My chest tightened, ears rang, but I kept smiling. Then she continued, "Don't worry, sis. You can pay in cuddles instead of cash." More laughter, louder, and multiple phones recording this adorable moment. My humiliation wasn't just happening live, it was being documented. I stood there clapping, face frozen, while my brain processed what happened. She'd taken a microphone at her own baby party and publicly declared me broke in front of 75 people. She'd reduced years of my hard work into a punchline about cuddles. Everyone was laughing, everyone was complicit. Something cracked open inside me with clarity. My quiet gift idea would be wasted on people who didn't respect me. They needed proof, needed their assumptions shattered so completely they could never rebuild them. So I made a new plan right there. I would still give the gift, but publicly. I would wait for the right moment near the event's end and hand my sister an envelope containing a number so large it would rewrite every joke she'd ever made. The $450,000 wasn't magic money. It was 5 years of strategic decisions and disciplined saving. After barely making ends meet in my mid-20s, I landed a remote role with good pay. I educated myself about investing, consistently putting 30 to 40% of income into investments, living below my means. A real estate opportunity came up. I bought in with a partner, and when we sold years later, my profit pushed my net worth past 7 figures. When my sister announced her pregnancy, I had over $600,000 liquid, specifically earmarked for family and future kids. Taking $450,000 felt significant but manageable. I worked with my financial advisor to set up a dedicated trust account in the baby's name, with my sister and her husband as trustees. The bank drafted an official letter clearly stating the account details, initial contribution, and my name as donor. After her microphone moment, I adjusted my plan. I would wait until near the party's end, approach calmly with my envelope, say a few words, then ask her to read it out loud. The number would speak for itself. The same crowd that laughed at her broke sister joke would witness a gift most of them could never afford. As the evening wound down, the host announced anyone wanting to give a special message or gift could come forward. Relatives went up with wrapped boxes and speeches. My sister opened each with exaggerated gratitude. I waited for a natural lull, then walked calmly through the crowd. She saw me coming, face lighting up with a condescending smile, probably expecting a cheap gift. "Aw, she got something," she said into the mic, and people chuckled. I stopped in front of her, pulled out the envelope, and held it without handing it over. The crowd quieted. "You've called me a lot of things over the years," I started clearly, "including the broke sister, which you announced into a microphone about an hour ago." Nervous laughter rippled through. "But the only title that matters to me today is aunt. I'm going to be this baby's Kala, and I want her to have everything she needs in life." I extended the envelope. "This is my gift to you, your husband, and your daughter. Open it and read it out loud so everyone knows what I'm giving your baby." She took the envelope, still smiling but confused. She tore it open, pulled out the bank letter, and started reading silently. I watched her eyes widen, mouth open in shock. Out loud, I reminded gently. The crowd leaned in. She cleared her throat, voice shaky now. "This letter confirms the establishment of a trust account for baby girl with an initial deposit of..." She paused, struggling to process, $450,000. Her voice cracked, and the entire party went silent. Dead silent. Then whispers erupted. "Did she say 450,000? That can't be real. Look at the letterhead, it's real." Oh my God. My sister stood frozen, letter trembling, staring at the paper. Her husband leaned over, eyes going wide. I let the moment breathe. Let the numbers sink in. Let everyone recalculate everything they thought about me. Then I spoke softly but clearly. "So, yeah, the broke sister is giving your daughter a $450,000 head start. You guys just focus on loving her. I'll handle the financial foundation." The crowd erupted in gasps and exclamations. Phones came out again, but this time recording a different story. This time recording the moment the broke sister label died, incinerated by a number too large to minimize. My sister looked up, eyes meeting mine, and I saw everything. Shock, embarrassment, gratitude, regret, confusion, all swirling together. Her mouth opened, but no words came. I gave her a small nod, not hostile, but not warm, just acknowledgement. I didn't wait for thanks. I turned and walked through the crowd, feeling dozens of eyes following, hearing conversation exploding as people rushed to discuss what happened. I grabbed my bag, gave polite waves, and walked to my car. The next day, I agreed to meet my sister at her house, just us two. She looked exhausted, eyes puffy from crying all night. We sat in her living room in heavy silence. Finally, she broke. "You humiliated me at my own baby reveal party. Everyone was talking about it all night, looking at me like I was some villain. You made me look horrible in front of 75 people. Why didn't you tell me about your money before? Why did you let everyone think you were struggling when apparently you've been loaded?" I took a slow breath. "You grabbed a microphone at your baby party and announced to 75 people that I'm the broke sister. You made jokes about me paying in cuddles. You turned my past struggles into entertainment, knowing every phone was recording. So when you say I humiliated you, think about what you did first. I didn't mock you. I didn't make you a punchline. I gave your daughter $500,000 and asked you to read the number out loud. That's not humiliation. That's proof." She started crying hard. Real shame tears. "I didn't mean it like that. It was just a joke, what we've always done." I shook my head. "No. You've made fun of me. For years. Every gathering, every holiday, you reached for the same easy target. My struggles, my money problems, my career uncertainty, all became your material. And I did struggle genuinely. But I worked my way out. I built something real. Not once did any of you notice or acknowledge that I'd changed. You held on to the old version because it was convenient, because it made your success look better." She wiped her eyes. "I didn't know you were doing so well. You never said anything, still dressed the same, drive the same car." I nodded. "Because my worth isn't tied to performance. I don't need designer clothes or posted bank statements to feel successful. But you needed me to stay broke in your mind, so you ignored every sign I wasn't." We sat with that truth. Finally, I spoke softer but firm. "The fund is real. That money will change her life. I want her to have opportunities I never had. But that gift comes with a boundary. My finances, my worth, my struggles, they're not your material anymore. Not for jokes, not for comparison, not for anything. If you want a real relationship with me, the kind where I'm involved in this baby's life, you need to respect me. Actually respect me, not just avoid jokes because you're afraid of what I might do." She nodded slowly. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't realize how much I was hurting you." I accepted but didn't rush to hug her. "We can rebuild trust. But it starts with you seeing me clearly, not as a punchline or comparison, but as your sister with her own life and success and story that doesn't revolve around you." We talked for another hour, slower and more careful than ever before. She asked how I built my finances. I shared some journey. She told me her fears around motherhood, how jokes deflected from her own insecurities. It wasn't an excuse, but it was context. By the time I left, nothing was neatly resolved. We hadn't hugged and cried and promised to be best friends. But we'd established boundaries. Clear, firm, non-negotiable boundaries about how we'd treat each other. And for the first time in years, I felt like maybe we could build a relationship based on actual respect. The weeks after were strange. Family reached out with curiosity, apology, and thinly veiled questions about my finances. Some wanted to know how I made money, others wanted investment advice. A few hinted they could use financial help. I kept responses polite but vague, protecting my privacy while making clear my generosity toward my niece wasn't a signal I was now the family ATM. My parents apologized for not noticing how their jokes contributed to the broke sister narrative. They admitted they'd gotten comfortable with a version of me that no longer existed. I appreciated it, but knew actions over time would matter more than words. As I reflect on everything, a few truths feel important. First, people will brand you based on the version they find most convenient. If you've struggled, some will cling to that version because it makes them feel better. They'll turn your hard times into jokes, into permanent roles you're expected to play. But you don't owe anyone access to your growth, your financial situation, career success. Personal evolution belong to you. Share if you want, keep private if that feels safer. Just know that people who truly care will notice when you're doing better and celebrate without needing formal announcements. Second, generosity only works when paired with respect. I could have given that fund quietly, avoided drama, kept peace. But that would mean accepting that disrespect was the price of family harmony. The gift was genuine, motivated by real love for a baby I haven't met. But I needed my sister to understand that financial support doesn't mean she gets to treat me however she wants. Love and boundaries can coexist, and they have to if relationships are going to be healthy. Third, revenge doesn't always look like cruelty. Sometimes the most powerful response to being underestimated is revealing truth. I didn't yell, didn't drag her with accusations. I handed her a number that made every joke impossible to repeat. The broke sister label died not from anger, but from facts that couldn't be argued with. Looking back at that moment under string lights, envelope in hand, I realized I was doing something I'd never done, taking up space. For years, I'd made myself small to accommodate other people's narratives. I'd laughed at hurtful jokes, stayed quiet when I should have spoken up, prioritized peace over dignity. That envelope wasn't just about money. It was about saying, this is who I actually am, and you will see me clearly even if it makes you uncomfortable. My niece is due in a few months. I've been invited to the baby shower, and my sister asked if I'll be involved in her daughter's life. I told her I'd think about it, not because I don't want to be part of this baby's life, but because I need to know my presence will be valued, not tolerated. The fund sits growing quietly, waiting for when this baby girl needs tuition or a car or a down payment. She'll never know the full story of how it came to exist, but maybe when she's older, someone will tell her that her aunt loved her before she was born, loved her enough to give something massive and life-changing. And maybe they'll also tell her that her aunt taught their family an important lesson. People contain depths you can't see from the surface, and assuming you know someone's story based on their toughest chapter is the fastest way to lose them. So here's what I want you to take away if you've ever been labeled or laughed at because of a struggling season. Balance sheets update. People change. Growth happens in silence sometimes. And when someone makes the mistake of underestimating you, of reducing you to your hardest moment, you have options. You can stay quiet and let them keep their illusions. Or you can show them who you actually are with such undeniable clarity, they have no choice but to adjust their story about you. For me, that clarity came in the form of a bank letter stating $450,000, read out loud at a baby reveal party where I'd been introduced as the broke sister. My sister had confetti cannons and pink smoke to announce her baby girl. I had one envelope and one number that announced something just as important. I'm not who you think I am. I never was. And from now on, you'll remember that every time you look at your daughter and know what I gave her. The broke sister is gone, and her place is just me, a woman who survived struggles, built something real, and finally learned that respect isn't something you beg for. Sometimes you just have to make it impossible to ignore. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's evolution. It's becoming someone so far beyond their expectations that old labels simply don't fit anymore. They called me the broke sister, laughed at my expense, turned my hard times into party jokes, and I let them for a while because I was too focused on building to care. But when the moment came to choose between staying small or taking up space, I chose space. I chose to be seen. And I handed them proof that their story about me was fiction. Now every time my sister looks at that framed certificate in her daughter's nursery, every time she checks that trust account balance, she'll remember that the sister she mocked for being broke gave her daughter $500,000. She'll remember that assumptions have consequences, words leave marks, and people you underestimate might be the ones holding your future in their hands. That's how the broke sister became the sister nobody will ever call broke again. Not with anger, but with evidence they couldn't deny. And honestly, that's more satisfying than any argument could have been.